My DJI Air 3 review after 7 weeks. It seems to be a common conception that if you have received a product for review, you can't be critical about it. Of course you can, but this belief is something that I'm aware of, so in my videos I will show you what the drone can do so you can make an informed decision to get it or not. DJI reached out to me towards the end of June and asked me if I wanted to do a review of the Air 3. So I had some time to fly around with the drone before it got launched. And for the most part, I'm super excited about this new drone as it checks off all the boxes for me. It also resolves a few issues that I had with previous models. I have been flying this drone for 6-7 weeks now, so I have a lot of experience using it. So it would make sense to convey this information to you in this consolidated review. First, since I'm located in the EU under the EASA drone regulations, I'm very happy to see that the Air 3 is classified as a C1 drone. So this means that you can fly your drone close to people in the city without any safety zones with a simple A1, A3 drone certificate in the open category. Something that you can't do with the newly released and very desired DJI Mavic 3 Pro. This is classified as a C2 drone, which means that you need to keep a 50-meter horizontal safety zone because the weight in combination with the speed of the drone exceeds 900 grams. The Air 3 clocks in safely at 752 grams. The camera system features a dual setup with a 24mm wide-angle lens as well as a 70mm medium tele lens that will allow you to do 3 times optical magnification without any degradation of the image. Both cameras have a 1 or 1.3 inch sensor, the same size as we know from the Mini 3 Pro. There's already been a ton of complaints that this is a downgrade compared to the 1 inch sensor that was used in the Air 2S. It may seem so on paper, but with the newly introduced stacked sensor design, the light sensitivity and readout speed should be dramatically improved. If you compare it, you have an aperture of 1.7 against the 2.8 of the Air 2S. That basically means that you let in the double amount of light. If you don't believe me, you can check out the video where I've tested out the DJI Air 3 low light capabilities, and you can access this video through this card. One really cool thing is that you have the same resolution, frame rates, as well as tracking available for both cameras. So there are no compromises what you can do. The only difference is that the wide-angle lens has an aperture of 1.7, where the medium telephoto lens has 2.8. With the introduction of a 70mm medium telephoto lens, you get access to lens compression, providing a way different view than what we're used to seeing with the commonly used wide-angle lenses. It compresses the background, which is excellent for creating fantastic footage, maintaining a safe distance from your filming objects. The new look is one of my favorite features of this drone and something that I've been very envious about from the bigger Mavic 3 models. Both cameras shoot 12 megapixel photos as default, but with the quad buyer technology that make use of pixel binning, there is a 48 megapixel option available as well for higher resolution images. I know there's been a lot of discussions going on already about the quality difference between the 12 megapixel and the 48 megapixel. So I've decided to provide some photo samples for you on the Tech Drone Media website that will allow you to judge the difference by yourself. To me, there seems no considerable difference if you plan to use the images on your computer or social media, where the file size would be way more important if you decided to print your images. So sticking with the 12 megapixel option will save some space on your hard drive. The maximum resolution for the cameras are 4K 60 FPS, slightly less than the 5.1K that you get with the Air 2S. But with the high resolution for the Air 2S, you do lose some of the functionality like tracking. However, 4K is often more than sufficient, as it would challenge the average video editor setup in terms of performance and storage. And the result will still be super awesome if you plan to use it on social media. With the Air 3, you can record slow motion in 4K up to 100 FPS. So that is super nice, but also at the same time a bit weird. Because if you, like me, use a 30 FPS timeline, 90 or 120 FPS would have been a better option. You are getting 3 color profiles, 1 standard 8-bit and 2 10-bit color profiles. One of the 10-bit ones is HLG, Hyperlog Gamma, a HDR format. The other one is D-Log-M, a flat desaturated format that will help you preserve the highlight and dark areas in your footage. Be aware, both 10-bit color profiles requires post-processing to look nice. In contrast, the standard profile looks really nice right out of camera, so you'll be able to use the footage directly. Looking at the design of the Air 3, it's relatively larger than the Mini 3 Pro. But it's also twice the weight. But with all the features that they have packed into this drone, it's difficult to see that it would turn out otherwise. One thing that contributes to the weight are the new batteries. And they are huge if you compare them to the Air 2S and the Mini 3 series. These high capacity batteries gives you a solid flight time on the right side of 30 minutes. We know the spec says 46 minutes, but this is rarely something that we get under real life conditions. These batteries are a significant improvement to the Air 2S, which often only provided 20 minutes of flight. If you have watched my first flight video, you would see that under this test, I did go under 30 minutes on a single battery. So close to 27 minutes of flight time. But that was also done under really extreme conditions with wind speeds up to 60 kilometers an hour. The noise level is around the same if you compare it to the Mavic 3 series, at least the classic that I've tested. This makes it significantly noisier than the stealthy Mini 3 series that can almost fly around unnoticed. The gimbal protector is a one-piece plastic that offers a protection for the camera as well as the front-facing sensors. I've seen better solutions for this, but it's okay for the purpose. It's pretty straightforward to mount them. You just twist the protection glass in front of the camera and replace it with the filter that you desire. You would have to use the same filter for both cameras. As you can see in the DJI filter case, both filters are mounted in the same frame shared by both cameras. The Air 3 comes with a complete 360 obstacle avoidance sensor system. This is the first time we see this on the Air series of drones. And let me tell you, it works really well. I put it through its paces in a separate video. I was really nasty and took the drone for a route that will represent every drone owner's worst nightmare. And it did really well. The sensors and the APAS 5.0 combination is great, allowing you to fly with high confidence in tight spaces without the fear of you losing your drone. I do want to say I did this in summertime with a lot of leaves on the small branches, so the outcome doing this in wintertime might be different. So the active track is really easy to use with complete protection of the drone, as now you don't need to worry about collisions. And of course I tested that too. With special focus, if the drone could continue to track me despite not being able to see me driving behind obstacles in the test area. In general, it works okay, but it's still a little bit unpredictable under some scenarios. But with the full 360 protection of the drone, at least I will not have to worry that it would collide with anything. However, there are some restrictions with the C1 classified drone, where the drone will not track objects that are separated more than 50 meters away from the controller. This is not the manufacturer's fault, but a limitation that has been introduced for the drone to be able to comply with the C1 class identification. And as far as I know, it only applies to EU. Also, we got the new controller RC2 that comes with the O4 transmission technology. That will give you 1080p 60 FPS much further away than you can see the drone. The controller comes with additional antennas, where the two visual ones are placed on the top. They are the same type as we have seen in the early days, with a flat surface that you need to point towards the drone for optimal reception. With the new improved controller that everybody is praising, I have seen video signal breakups at distances. I was flying chasing this boat on the water, but I had to abort that mission because all of a sudden the video signal started breaking up. It was weird because there shouldn't be much Wi-Fi pollution in that area, as you could see. And I was not that far away from my takeoff point. For the record, this was just a single incident, otherwise it has been working fine. It seems responsive and have the same brightness as the previous one that will let you see what is going on the controller in the sun if you're not letting the screen be hit directly. And the coolest part with these units are they don't overheat in the sun, which is something that I was struggling with very often when using my phone. The controller has 32 GB of internal storage that can be used for, let's say, screen recordings, where you record everything that goes on the screen. It also takes an external SD card, but I still need to figure out how to get the screen recordings to be saved on that one. Additionally, I haven't been able to figure out how I get audio onto my screen recordings, as this could be done on the previous models by just plugging in a cheap USB microphone. And as of right now, the DJI RC2 is not compatible with any other drones than the DJI Air 3. Hopefully, this is something DJI will change and offer in the future. With the Air 3, you are getting access to waypoints that will allow the drone to fly by itself along a defined route. You do have to fly the first mission manually, but you can then save the mission afterward and repeat it as many times as you want. One of the outstanding features of the DJI Air 3 is the outstanding performance in high winds. It can handle level 6 on the Beaufort wind scale, which is super impressive for a consumer-grade drone. The level 6 wind resistance makes it an excellent choice for flying in challenging weather conditions, especially if you frequently encounter strong winds in your area. The Fly More kit comes with a bag, allowing you to conveniently and securely transport your drone batteries and accessories. It's a tight fit and it leaves little room for extra accessories like an action camera or a microphone. In addition to the bag, the Fly More kit comes with 2 extra batteries as well as a charging cradle that will allow you to charge 3 batteries sequentially. If you need a little bit more space in your bag, you can leave the cradle at home as this occupies a lot of space in there. The kit also includes a ton of extra propellers, which you hopefully don't need because of the protection included with the drone. With the pace DJI is releasing drones right now, it's always the big question if they offer enough incentive to go and upgrade. I'm not going to say that you should get this drone, as I don't know your needs and you need to make that decision by yourself. But what I can say, if I had the Air 2S and I was living in EU under the EASA drone rules, I would seriously consider upgrading because by the end of 2023, the Air 2S will become a legacy drone. This would mean if you want to continue to fly in the open category, that you would be sort of pushed out in the A3 airspace where you have to keep 150 meter horizontal distance to uninvolved people. That will for the most of us render the drone completely useless. So that's a strong argument in my book. On top of that, you will get longer flight time as well as full 360 obstacle avoidance. If you don't care about all of that, then stick with your guns and be happy with that. Are you a Mini 3 Pro owner? Consider upgrading if you live in pretty windy areas, as you will get a much more stable drone capable of handling level 6 wind resistance. And all the other extra goodies like longer flight time, full protection of the drone, waypoints and such by switching to the Air 3. That concluded my DJI Air 3 review, and if you missed some of the videos that I've made covering specific topics or areas of the drone, I made a playlist for that you can access through this card. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then feel free to give it a like. If you didn't like it, feel free to press the dislike button twice. Thank you for watching and I'll be seeing you around.